Hey, welcome everyone to another week of the Focus TV. We're joined by Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons. I'm Wilson Tarbett Jr. and this is season 6, episode 23. We're gonna just get right to it, man. NBA playoffs. A broom has come out on one side. We're waiting to see how things go tonight to see if there's gonna be two brooms to describe this conference finals. We're not quite sure, but the Nuggets completed their sweep of the Los Angeles Lakers last night. I think it was 113 to 111. Miami's trying to do the same with Boston, as I mentioned. I don't know if I don't know how many people. I'm sure people might have had Denver or Miami winning the series. I don't think too many people expected brooms. All right, just be completely honest on another. I don't know another way to say it. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this postseason. We've been talking about it each and every week. Here we are. One team's in the finals. Out west, we know our champion in the West. It's it's really weird. It's the team that finished number one in the regular season. Really wild. But Octavia, we'll start with you, and then Ray. You guys' thoughts on the NBA playoffs this week?
Yeah, like you said, it's so wild that the number one seed actually won the Western Conference final, the one team that a lot of people weren't really paying a lot of attention to. Um, I mean, to me, the way they won was even that more impressive because they weren't blowout wins as well. They were able to have a lot of poise in clutch time. I mean, even in the game last night, they were down 15 at halftime. And I mean, LeBron came out with his head playing with his hair on fire, with 30 points in the first half, trying to do everything he possibly could to not get swept. But I'll be completely honest, after halftime, I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to keep that up in the second half. He was exhausted. And like they always say, Father Time is undefeated. And it's so bad that now out of nowhere, LeBron is contemplating retiring. We would have never heard that probably when the playoffs started, as far as LeBron thinking about retiring. Early on in the season, he talked about he wants to play with Bronny, who's committed to USC, so he'll play at least a year there. So you think that's 2 years out. I think he still has 2 years left on his contract. He has a player option next year, I think. So Denver beat them so bad that they done beat LeBron into retirement. I mean, I think LeBron saw Mabu Carmelo decide to retire. He was like, oh, that sounds kind of nice. Maybe I'll just ride off into the sunset with my man. Um, and now he's even changing his whole tune, saying that he would be okay not playing with Bronny. So that's to me, that was just wild. But kudos 100% to the Nuggets. Like I said, they weren't even playing great ball for, maybe the last two games of the series. But that just shows you how well of a team they are, to show that they were able to, come together. And we talk about teams having depth and we talk about teams having good benches. And the Denver Nuggets have that. Bruce Brown has been just amazing for them, in the minutes that he's played. I mean, Jeff Green literally graduated high school 2 years before me, and he's still out there running up and down the court. I mean, he's just about the same age as LeBron. He's about 2 years younger than LeBron. So he's still out there putting in work. Aaron Gordon played amazing defense, as much as he can. I mean, LeBron definitely had his way in the first half, but Aaron Gordon was able to kind of step up, especially the way that the game ended. They talk about the block that Aaron Gordon had, but it could have also been a jump ball with Jamal Murray right there, had his hands on the ball as well. Um, I mean, as great as I think Darvin Ham was for them this year, I think this also kind of proved that his adjustments weren't all that great. A lot of people were calling for D'Angelo Russell to not be starting for plenty of games before this last one. He finally decided to change the starting rotation. He just never got going in this series at all. There was nothing he could do. He couldn't even help stopping Murray, when it came down to it. And I mean, the one person that we talk about a lot is outside of LeBron for the Lakers is Anthony Davis. And I'm not saying he had a terrible series. I mean, he started game one with a 40 piece. He played good defense. But I just want him to have more of a like go get it type mentality. Like, this is somebody that people have said that he could be a top 5 player in the league. And you can't be a top 5 player in the league getting, I mean, killed by Jokic. I mean, Jokic did that crazy step back three. I mean, like, and that wasn't even the first time he did it in this series. Like, to me, that was wow. But kudos to, I think the biggest winner in all of this is Nikola Jokic. Um, People have had this debate these last few years with him winning MVP the last 2 years before this year between him and Embiid. I still stand firm that I believe that Nikola Jokic is the best big man in the game, including over Joel Embiid. I don't. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think Jokic is that much more well-rounded than him. He can take over a game if he needs to. Obviously, we see Joel wasn't able to do that in the series with the Celtics. But I mean, the number one team is the number one team. We talk about home court advantage; it's important. And they were. I mean, yes, I thought the Denver Nuggets would win this series. I personally did not think it would be a sweep. I knew they would win it. Um, but again, like they were just amazing in clutch time, like down to the wire. They were able to get it done, and they were able to lean on their stars and Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and everybody else played up to what they needed to in order to get it done. And it's just, I mean, it's just got to be sweet for some of those players. Like I said, it's the first time the Denver Nuggets have reached the NBA Finals ever in their entire existence. And I think they said this was the first time they've ever swept anybody in a playoff series. So for it to be the first time you've ever swept somebody in a playoff series, go to the NBA Finals, and you swept LeBron on the way there, kudos. It was just I mean, I know they're not satisfied with just getting to the finals. They're looking to win. And they definitely have a very high possibility of that if they continue to play they've been playing. I know when we first started, Wilson, you said that we're going to wait and see if another broom comes out tonight. It's coming. Just it's out. It's They're sweeping up already. I don't know. Miami is ready to party. Boston has been such a huge letdown. Not even in just this series, just in the playoffs, period. Yeah, granted, they were able to pull it together and have some great moments in the playoffs where they were able to get through some of those tough situations when they played. I think they took it too long with the Atlanta, and then get into a game 7 with Philadelphia and blowing them out. They were able to come together in some points, but I mean, Jimmy Butler and them just been dogging. I mean, dogging them, and it's so bad. I know they talk about the others a lot. And we talk about all these undrafted free agents, the Caleb Martins, the Max Struces, the Gabe Vincents. I mean, for goodness sake, Duncan Robinson was driving to the basket. Like, when did he start doing that? Like, in this defense that we've talked about so much this year has been non-existent. You have a second team all defensive player in Derek White. You have, I'll be honest, I had never heard of this award until this year, but apparently it's been going on under the covers. You have NBA's Hustle Award in Marcus Smart, whatever that is. Apparently that's a thing. I mean, you have these top tier defensive player. You have Robert Williams, who, for the life of me, I can't understand why he's not starting. I just don't get. I mean, granted, I get the whole injury thing, but it's the playoffs. Like, we need you 24/7. Like, the reason why you didn't play that much in the regular season is because they need you in the postseason. And then, I mean, Jaylen Brown to me has been more consistent than Jason Tatum has been throughout the playoffs. But now they're both just going cold at the absolute wrong time. They're all complaining about calls. I mean, Al Horford has been god awful when shooting a three. He had a couple in this last game when obviously it did not matter because they were getting blown out by 30. Everybody's talking about Grant Williams. Grant Williams has had a tough season this season with viral moments. The whole viral moment where I think they were playing the Cavs, and Donovan Mitchell told him, "Don't make these free throws." And he was like, "I'm gonna make both," and he proceeded to miss both, and they lost the game. And now you have the head-to-head square up with Jimmy Butler, and then after that, get cooked. But at the same time, he showed some fight. I felt like he was the only one that showed any fight in that, and that's somebody who didn't even play, I believe, in the first 2 games of this series. They were looking to inject some type of life in it. I think he tried his best. He did what he could do, but he can't do it alone. I just feel like they just have not. I don't know if they haven't taken the moment serious enough. I don't know. The reports now are that they have been so disjointed ever since the whole Ime Udoka situation, but that was in September, like September, October. Like, we've got to move past that at this point. That can't still be an excuse. I do think that Mazzulla's being a rookie in this situation has been tough for them to navigate. And then they also did talk about the fact that he didn't have a good veteran presence in his coaching staff, especially after Damon Stoudemire got hired by Georgia Tech. And then, of course, Will Hardy was a top assistant with them last year, and he's out in Utah. So the reports are now that they're looking to get him some more veteran coaches on his staff. I think they were looking at Frank Vogel and Silas Stevens, I believe, is some of the names that they've been coming up with. But I mean, I understand he tried to have his teams back and say I didn't have them ready to play. I understand these players have been together for. I mean, they made the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they said 5 out of the last 7 years, with their core being together for a majority of that time. It's not on the coach. Y'all can't went out there and quit. The body language was horrible, and I don't see it changing today. And I'm not. I personally don't have a favorite team. I root for players, and then I kind of adopt their teams. I'll be completely honest. That's just my thing. I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan, so I've been riding with the Celtics. I want them to get it done. Jason has the ability to do it, but it's just too wishy washy for me at this point. And at this point, I don't even put any effort or entertainment into it. The brooms are coming out. Jimmy and the boys have been doing it. Kyle's been great off of the bench. Like I said, all the others have been great. And again, they're doing this without Tyler Hero. They're doing this without Victor Oladipo. They knocked out the number one seed. They came from the play and they knocked out the number one seed. They took care of, I forgot who they had second. Was it not Brooklyn? The Knicks. They took care of the Knicks, and the Knicks were on a great, run as well. And I mean, Jimmy Butler can talk about that the playoff Jimmy doesn't exist. He does. He's here. I don't know why he doesn't want to just embrace it. It's a thing. You weren't playing this hard in the regular season. I don't know what it was. It's just turned on. It's go time to try to get a ring. So I imagine that at the end of this night, I'll be sad because yes, the Celtics got swept, but I'll also be sad because there won't be any games on for a whole week and a half because the finals don't start till next Thursday because nobody was anticipating the sweep on both sides. I think they said it's never been done where both teams have gotten swept in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. So just we'll be bored for the next week and a half. We'll come here next Tuesday and be like, I don't know what we'll talk about. Well, I guess we'll talk about previews at that point. But yeah, kudos to the Heat. I'm first, saying they're probably going to win tonight, and kudos to the Nuggets. Last thing on the Nuggets, I forgot to mention, kudos to Nikola Jokic for getting his MVP that he probably should have got anyway. He didn't get the regular season MVP, but he got that MVP for the Western Conference Finals. I mean, I feel like it kind of goes with that thing where they say like ball don't lie. I kind of feel like this is one of those situations. Like it came back around the way that it was supposed to. I'm sure he's more happy with this one than that one. And they're happy to be going to the finals. And I got him winning it all. I'm not even gonna lie. Jimmy probably gonna do his thing, but I don't know who's gonna stop Jokic because I don't know what Bam think he gonna do. He gonna try his darndest. I'm not saying he's not, but Jokic is a different animal. And I mean, if Bam is on Yoke, who's going to be on Aaron Gordon? Like, they just don't have the matchup, I think. So I think hopefully it's not another sweep in that series. I think it'll be a little bit more. I think Jimmy has a lot more gusto that he won't let it go out like that. But at the same time, I thought LeBron would too. And we see where we are.
Ray, your thoughts on the current state of the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, I don't even have a lot to say, man. In the Western Conference Finals, I mean, the Nuggets were the better team. That was evident from the beginning. Let's just be honest, man. The Lakers, they beat two flawed teams to get to this point. Memphis, they were minus some key guys, and then dealing with all the inner turmoil that they was going through. And then the Warriors, they were just way too small for LA. And the Lakers took full advantage of that. Not saying those aren't good teams; they were in the playoffs for a reason. But those were series that I honestly would have been surprised if the Lakers didn't win. The Nuggets were the better team; they played better. I didn't expect them to dominate in that fashion, but I did expect them to win the series. But but yeah, man, they took them to the woodshed, and it just wasn't much the Lakers could do. Jamal Murray just went nuts. They Nobody could guard him. Of course, Jokic did what he does. He's just a walking mismatch. They tried a couple of adjustments, but it just didn't matter, man. And it was funny. They tried to have Anthony Davis roaming in the last game, and he got like two or three defensive 3-second calls. Like that's, but yeah, man, Nuggets handle business. Yeah, I mean, LeBron came out and emptied the clip in the first half, but like Octavia said, it wasn't no way he was going to sustain that. It was too much energy exerted. Everything was a hard drive to the basket or a three. Um, you can't keep that up for 48 minutes at, with 20 years worth of miles on your legs. Like you gotta make it easier than that, man. But yeah, kudos to the Nuggets. They did what they were supposed to do, and now they got a chance to win their first championship. On the other side, I definitely didn't expect Miami to to dominate like this. Yeah, Boston, I don't know what's going on with them. But that just shows you how hard it is to win in this league. Like they've been in the conference finals a lot the last few years. They were just in the finals last year, and they had a chance to win. They were up 2-1 at one point. But Yeah, Miami, man, it I just feel like they took this series personal. They said they felt like they should have beat them last year, and they were damn close. And now they're not leaving it in the judges' hands. Let's just keep it at that. Yeah, they dogging them. They took their heart. And it's disappointing to see Boston go out like that. I mean, it's not officially over yet, but they're not climbing out this 3-0 hole. Yeah, and Joe Mazzulla, yeah, he's a first year coach in a situation, but your number one guy not scoring in back to back fourth quarters, that's not coaching, man. Like he got to take some ownership of that and get it done. And to Jason Tatum's credit, he has admitted that it's not on the coach, but that's cool and all, but you got to perform on the floor. This is definitely embarrassing. Hopefully, they come out with some fight tonight. But I'm pretty sure Miami's going to be looking to put the final nails in the coffin, and I don't know if there's much Boston can do about it.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. Only thing I'm here for is some of those folks that get paid at the highest levels to cover the NBA may be forced to actually cover the NBA with this finals. You know, kind of put your narratives, some of your narratives, year worth of narratives dead at the hands of the Denver Nuggets. There were other teams playing good basketball. That's why they were the one seed for those of you that missed it during the regular season, or were acting like someone's MVPs weren't valid because we were, you know, waxing poetically about whatever happened in the bubble. All types of different narratives, whatever people may have chosen. But like you said, right, with Boston, yeah, it's disappointing for sure. And then I also just, in my little 2 cents, coaching does matter. This is not a shot at Joe Mazzulla or anything like that, but the voice matters too. And we saw for the second straight time, this is a small sample size, it seems like Boston doesn't respond well to decent people. Like talking to them well. They don't respond well. You had Brad Stevens. We know who was next. And then Joe Mazzulla. You tell me which one of them three weren't like the other two. I'm going to leave it there. Some people need to be talked to a certain way. They shouldn't, but that's just what it is. And that's why coaching does matter. When people are just like, oh, so-and-so had this team. All you had to do was roll the ball out and, no, not at all. Because sometimes with those type of teams, they don't care what you have to say at all. And, sometimes with Boston, we kind of seen it. And shout out to Joe Mazzulla for trying to fall on the sword, but this ain't got nothing to do with you. All year, they were one of the best teams in the East. Own it. And it's up to you, you know. You can go in 5, maybe 6. Who knows? Maybe even fight back. Or you can match that other story franchise in the West, and both of y'all get the brooms. One or two things is happening. We'll see what happens. But you know, I saw everyone talking about, oh, people are gonna watch the finals. Yeah, nah, people are gonna watch. It's on TV. People are gonna watch it. Y'all gotta let it go. There's been worse final matchups throughout the many years of the NBA. Y'all have to let things like that go. And especially when y'all will just be talking about the same narratives, you'll find a way to make it about it. Like, woke up today and all they talked about was what's next for the team that lost. Meanwhile, Denver, first time in franchise history, as Octavia mentioned, whole lot of first, but all we heard about was something we'll get to a little bit later in rapid fire. We're gonna take our first break. When we get back, we're gonna talk a little Mystics. Ray was at the home opener. They've had 2 games since then. They're literally in the middle of the third, and we'll have Cardell check in for the third. But we'll get to that. Little DC United, and we'll wrap things up with rapid fire. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We will return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, Ray. The Washington Mystics, man. Season's here. It's begun.
Yeah, they're playing their third game right now against Connecticut. Connecticut's up 63-60. Fourth quarter just started. They lost to Connecticut on Sunday, 80-74. They won their home opener against the Liberty, 80-64. Yeah, man. As always, man. It's just a great crowd at ESA. Especially for big games like that. The atmosphere was great. And the Mystics came out and made a statement, man. The Liberty were one of the most talked about teams, and rightfully so. With the additions they made, but yeah, man, the Mystics, they just crashed the party. Yeah, their defense, man, is smothering. And if they're going to defend like that the entire season, it's going to be a problem. You know, um, and they're capable on the offensive end as well. Elena, she looks like she's finally back to 100%. She's moving as well as I've seen since before the championship year, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, that's going to give them a whole nother dimension. Shakira, she's probably going to be the linchpin for them. She came in had a solid rookie year, but she's got a whole year under her belt now. Then she had a great year overseas, so the confidence is even higher than it was before, if that's even possible for Shakira, because her confidence is always on 1,000, which is a great thing. And the talent's already unquestionable. So yeah, once she's just continuing to learn the league and get more comfortable. And we've already seen on Sunday she just showed some stuff in her offensive game that she wasn't showing last year. Going to work in the post, in the mid range, showing some great footwork. So man, if she continues to elevate her game, that's going to be tough because her and Elena playing at a high level. I mean, it's not many teams that's going to be able to match that. This Connecticut plays them tough because they have one of the best front lines in the WNBA, but every team doesn't have those resources at their disposal. So yeah, man. I mean, the Mystics, they weren't being talked about like that because of because of the moves some other teams made. But I feel like they're gonna be right in the thick of things if they just for one stay healthy, of course, and then just kind of maximize their potential. They got a well-rounded team. They got some folks that have been around for a while now. So yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting season. They've since they won the championship, they've just kind of been on a roller coaster. Because 2020 you had the bubble, then 2021 was one of the craziest years I've ever seen for a professional basketball team. Like they almost had a different start lineup every night. And then 2022 they dealt with some injuries as well, and then they were still kind of slow walk Elena back to 100% health. So yeah, man, this year is probably the most whole they felt in a while. So I'm sure they're excited about that, and And yeah, man, I think the sky's the limit for them, man. I think they can compete with any team in the W, and yeah, they just got to put it together on the floor.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about the W, right? Is it's heavily matchup based. Um, there could be two teams that give a superpower troubles, and everybody else is fine with those two teams. And like you mentioned, Connecticut is another one of those teams like Washington, and people aren't talking about. But like we talked about on Mystics Outlook the other day, Connecticut's also a team that's made the finals recently. You know, like they still have some core pieces there. So I know everyone didn't have the most flashiest of off seasons, but you know people teams having pieces that have been a part of runs kind of sort of matter. We've seen that on the men's side at times, even when things haven't quite worked out. But we're gonna check in with Cardell just a bit, then followed by our second break. You're watching the Focus TV. We will return after the live check-in from the ESA. Mystics fell 88-81 to the Sun. So Cardell and then Ray, we'll start with Cardell. Just your thoughts on tonight's game and what you saw.
Uh, the Mystics all game, they had trouble keeping the Sun out of the paint, and I'm talking about the Sun's guards. Alyssa Thomas is going to go coast to coast and living there, DeWanda Bonner or when O'Doder, but um, that the fact that the Suns guards lived in the paint, whether they were scoring or kicking it out for open jumpers, um, is troubling because the caliber of defenders that they have on the perimeter for the Mystics. And the fact that they lived in there pretty much set the tone for the game. I think they outscored the Mystics 40-26 in the paint. Um, had 21 assists. Um, Shot 47% from the field, and it's because they lived in the paint and they got fouled a lot. You know what I mean? Something has to give because this is the second game in a row where that has happened. And on top of that, what compounds is not only are the Mystics guards right now not defending well, they're not hitting any shots. Starters or reserves. I mean, Brittany Sykes is doing her thing. But Cloud and Atkins got to get going. They were 5 for 17. Then you go to the bench, and Tolliver and Walker Kimbrough, they were 0 for 7 combined. It's hard to win. Deladon had to put on the cape, so to speak, in the second half. Shot a Willer to win. She had 27, 7 to 4. But you got to understand who she's dealing with on the other side. She got to deal with Alyssa Thomas. And then, Shakira, she had a good first half. 12 points. But you see that the Suns, keyed in on her the second half and basically tried to keep her off the boards and stop her from trying to get second chance points and denied her so they couldn't throw the ball in the post because she kind of had her way one-on-one in the post. And then the thing that threw the Mystics off was they doubled Deladon at every turn. They did not guard her one-on-one. She had to really work hard for that 27. And they just dared somebody to make shots. They dared somebody to hit perimeter shots, and no one really could outside Deladon. And that pretty much was the game. They definitely have to figure something out. I know it's early. I'm not gonna act like it's the end of the year and this has continued over some months or whatnot. But look, team scouting. You know how it is. They're gonna look at the tape of the last two games, and they're gonna keep giving the misses a jump until they start hitting them. And then they feel like they can drive because, no disrespect, if Tiffany Hayes and Letitia Hyman can get in the paint, what are the Aces backcourt going to do with the Plum and Chelsea Gray? What are some of these other, more credible, not saying credible, more accomplished backcourts? What are they going to do? You see what I'm saying? And they got to clean that up because that's one area coming into the season where we all feel like, all right, we ain't got to worry about the defense with the Mystics. But now that's a concern so far, and that's alarming. So, Atkins, to make matters worse, Atkins was in foul trouble, 5 fouls. That's just tough, man. That's tough. And she's frustrated because she's kind of like Kawhi, her demeanor. She just hoops. And she lost it for a second there with one of the refs when her and Hayes crashing into each other, and they called a foul on them, which ended up being a foul, but she thought, it was out of bounds for Hayes. And, she screamed at the ref. But that's just frustration because nothing's going right on either end. So they definitely have some regrouping to do to try to fix what's going on.
Yeah, man. They definitely got to start making some shots. even in the win in the season opener, they didn't shoot the ball well against the Liberty. They just strapped and got buckets in transition. But these last two games against Connecticut, they weren't able to get those transition baskets, and they had to get bulk of their offense in the half court, and they just have not been able to make any shots, man. And Connecticut, they're daring them to. They're doubling Elena hard every single time, and they're doing it with with no concern about what's going to happen when she kicks the ball out, because nobody on the Mystics can make anything. So yeah, that's if they're going to have the season they intend on having, they got to figure that out, because like Ardell said, man, teams are they're definitely going to continue to do that until you make them pay, because nobody is going to let Elena go one-on-one. Nobody in this league. I don't care who you have on your team. That's not the way to go, man. You're going to have to double her. And if the Mystics not going to hit shots, then they're going to do it with no conscience, and they're going to get rebounds and go the other way, especially playing a team like Connecticut with their huge front line. And then somebody like Alyssa Thomas that's just going to get the ball and burrow down the court and put pressure on you. Like I think she had 16 free throws tonight. So yeah, they definitely gotta fix that shooting, and yeah, them not being able to stop anybody from getting penetration. Yeah, that's a no, especially for this team with who they have out there. They added Brittany Sykes to add to defensive pressure they're able to add or put on the perimeter. Then with Cloud and Atkins, what they've already shown they can do, that shouldn't be a thing for them, man. But tonight it definitely was, and they paid for it. Yeah, like Ardell said, man, it's not the end of the world, but these are the things you want to fix, and fix them quickly.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Gonna switch gears just a little bit here. On to DC United. Get this up here for you guys. All right, they had two matches last week. The first of which was on the road in Philadelphia. Ended up being a scoreless draw. Again, it's not the worst thing in the world. You go into a hostile environment. You leave with a point, which never hurts in the standings. As you guys can see right there, DC United thought they went up 1-0 right here in the 66th minute, but Christian Benteke was ruled just offsides. Some high pressure paid off in the 70th minute as LA was trying to play out of the back. And again, they're playing the LA Galaxy. Right here is Kristen Jerome coming in for Cudi Pietro. But LA is trying to play out the back. The keeper kind of fumbles the ball a little bit, then tries to flop, but he just fumbled the opportunity right here. Plays the ball back to the keeper, and this is why keepers shouldn't have the ball too often. Loses it, easy goal. It's a 0-0 game. You're on the road, and this is what you give. One of the easiest goals Christian Benteke has probably scored in his career. A simple tap in because, you just mishandled a rock. That's all it was. There's not another way to say it. Look at this. Just pressure got to him. That's it. He tried to sell the call. The ref's like, come on, buddy. All you had to do was, I don't know, get the ball off your foot. Could have went out of bounds. You tried to 1-2 it, and the second part never came to fruition. This is tough for LA, right? So you gave up the first goal in the 70th minute. Literally 2 minutes later, Benteke brings in a distribution from Miller, Washington's keeper. Plays it out of the net here. You see Benteke using his size and hold-up play. Brings it down with his chest. And then finds Christian DeHome. Easy goal. So just like that, in a matter of minutes, if you're at LA Galaxy, you're in a world of trouble. One of the most cliche things in soccer is like, if you're up 2 goals, it's one of the most dangerous places to be as the team that's up 2, because, the other team scores 1 goal, they're only down 1. It's not enough goals per se to feel like the dagger. However, I told you guys this run right here included more than 2 goals. So a few minutes after this one, at least there was a little bit more time between this goal and the next one. 79th minute. So in a span of 9 minutes is how the LA Galaxy lost this game. You played for 90 plus, and you lost it in 9. In the 79th minute, this was just great by DC United right here. You get a stop, simple combining, really good passing, click up top to Dijon. He tries to find Benteke. The keeper breaks it up and clicks right there for the tap in. And he had jokes with the celebration. I want to make sure you guys don't miss this. This is literally straight off of FIFA. He had time for this. Also, this celebration is super old, so he's aging himself right here. Dagger, punch out. Here we go. That's it. But for DC United, look, man, told you guys what the record was a couple weeks ago. Right now, they're now 5-4 on the year. They're up to 6th place in the standings. Credit to them. They had lost the game 2 matches ago, rebounded with a draw, and now a win. I think they're in 6th, which isn't bad at all. And then this week, I think this week's a normal week. They only have 1 match this week. They will be traveling to Toronto to take on Toronto FC. Again, very fun times for Matthias Klick. He had a blast in this one, as did the rest of DC United. All right, so got some rapid fire for you guys. Got some interesting questions. Some of which I guess you guys won't be too shocked at. I guess we'll start with this one because headlines and whatnot. I'm just gonna go ahead and get it over with. Here you guys go. Following last night's season-ending loss of the Denver Nuggets, one LeBron James shared this in his post-game presser, amongst other things. Side note, I'm sure he wasn't aware that this would dominate the headlines. Yes, that's full of sarcasm, guys. We know what this was. I got a lot to think about. Just personally, with me moving forward with the game of basketball, I got a lot to think about. So, Raymond, start with you. Just want to get your thoughts on the statement, how serious you may or may not take this. Is it a threat of retirement? A hint at retirement? Just a random monologue? What is this?
This is LeBron putting his greatest talent on display, which is media manipulation. Nobody believes he's going to retire. Yeah, he's not abandoning the farewell tour. Let's be real here. There's no way he's retiring in the off season. I don't understand why anyone is even remotely taking this seriously. They're part of the problem. It's just foolishness, man. We all know he's not. He's going to announce it in grand fashion, so he can get all the attention he's earned. To be perfectly honest, man, he can't go out without getting the Kareem treatment or the Larry Bird treatment, or how D-Wade got his farewell tour. He's one of the greatest to ever play the game. He should be celebrated as such. So yeah, people just gotta not pay him any mind right now. Yeah, it's funny how that's being talked about, instead of the loss they just suffered. But it is what it is. But yeah, I take this with less than a grain of salt. We'll see you in training camp, buddy.
All right, Octavia. Same question as you.
Yeah, kind of like I alluded to a little bit early. It's just like, okay, the Nuggets beat you so bad, now you're ready to retire. I was like, and you made a great point that I didn't think of until now. It's like, of course we have to have the LeBron farewell tour. We have to have that. This is the guy that did the decision. I mean, Melo just retired with the whole video. LeBron is going to have a whole movie probably about him retiring when that comes about. So yeah, again, like I said, I believe he still has 2 years left on his contract. He has a player option next year. We keep hearing all this stuff about how much he loves Austin Reeves and how much he loves Rui Hachimura. And of course, he wants to play with them for more than half a season as far as Rui. And then, of course, we're hearing all the rumors about, is Kyrie going to go there next year? this is again, like you said, media manipulation just to get the story, dominate the headlines. Let's talk about this instead of the fact that we lost. Let's do that. Let's not talk about that I got swept and that this could be maybe a teeny tiny stain on my legacy, maybe a little tiny stain on there. Let's not talk about that. Yeah, I don't believe he'll retire either. Like it just seems like something I honestly feel like in the moment he was just in his feelings. They just lost. I mean, we talk about sportsmanship all the time. I swear I ain't see him dap nobody up after that game. I'm just gonna say that. Could have sworn he had beeline straight for that locker room. I don't think he congratulated Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. I mean, his former teammate KCP, who I know he's excited that they won that series. So yeah, like I honestly think it was just a knee-jerk reaction. He was just in his feelings at the moment. And like you said, we'll see you in training camp. So just start trying to put together your roster because you're kind of like the GM too. So figure out who you want to play with next year, who's going to be your off-season trades and everything. I'm sure you'll be in the war room at the draft. Like it's okay. You're just in your feelings a little bit. You just need to go 1, 2, 3 Cancun, take a little trip, relax your mind. I think part of it also too is LeBron usually go, what is it, 0 dark 30 during the playoffs. He was not that this year. So I think maybe the extra Instagram and Twitter might have got to him a little bit, but yeah, I don't believe him at all. We'll see you next year, so the Lakers fans can do this all over again.
Y'all not right, man. He said he might really retire. Y'all out here saying it's nothing. All right, on to the local media here in DC loves this topic. They do this for the last 4 years, or 3 years rather. They've done this for OTAs with this gentleman with Chase Young. So apparently OTAs started across the league. Chase Young did not attend the voluntary workouts. Again, I'll say that word again. He did not attend the voluntary workouts. Mind you, they declined his fifth-year option. So if he was to attend the workouts and get injured in any shape, fashion, or form, there is no security there. That said, he declined to attend a voluntary workout, and the local media went nuts today. You got think pieces, rants on team stations and whatnot. Octavia, your thoughts on Chase not being there for day one OTAs this year?
I don't blame him. I wouldn't show up neither. I ain't got no contract past this year. I'm already nursing injuries as it is because that's the reason why you guys didn't give me my fifth-year option in the first place. So I'll see y'all when it's mandatory. Don't blame him at all. And like you say, it's just crazy that they harp on one player. I just read that it wasn't just him. Montez Sweat wasn't there as well. Charles Leno Jr. wasn't there as well. Because again, these are optional, voluntary. Come if you want, don't come if you don't want. And obviously he didn't want to come. So more power to him. I think of course, in some sense of the word, he had something to prove. Because they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So yes. But he ain't got to prove it right now. He still got time to put in extra work by himself and get to training camp and surprise a lot of people. Maybe that's his end goal when it comes down to it. So I'm not worried about it at all. I mean, if they don't like you, Chase, just come on up the turnpike. We'll welcome you with open arms on our defense. We will love you. It's fine. You can come to Philly. That's fine. We will figure out some type of compensation for you. And we don't care if you don't come to the voluntary. Well, they might care because pretty much everybody's at our voluntary ones as well. But yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Like you said, it's just the media, and it's because the Commanders haven't been good in a very long time. So I think they're looking for anything to do. So it doesn't surprise me in that aspect. But yeah, this is much about nothing.
She somehow turned that into a recruiting pitch. All right,
Absolutely.
Ray,
Come on, Chase.
your thoughts on this story, non-story?
Man, they don't deserve him, man. Like, to be perfectly honest, they've been on his neck since draft day. Like, and didn't give him the credit he deserved for a great rookie season. But was super critical once he started getting injured. Like it's a tale as old as time, and he's going to go to another team and have a all pro career. That's just how it works with Washington athletes. But yeah, it's definitely a non-story. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal for somebody to choose not to go to something that's optional. It's literally described in in the name of the event, voluntary. So yeah, I don't understand why this is being discussed. I don't understand how any of that made it to print, but here we are.
Gotta love for NFL media, right? All right, on to Octavia. You mentioned him earlier. Carmelo Anthony's called it a career. Thoughts on Melo's goodbye and any impact his career may have had on either of you or just on folks, period, because right now we're in this wonderful age where if you're not, you know, like a certain three people, you weren't a Hall of Famer, you couldn't really do anything, and whatever you did doesn't matter because numbers. These are the rules. Octavia, we'll start with you, Ray.
Yeah, this one hurt my heart a little bit. First of all, it made me feel super old, because literally I remember when he got drafted. So to see him get drafted, and as you all know, Melo's my favorite player, ever since high school when he played at Oak Hill. I mean, Syracuse winning the national championship as a freshman, number third pick in the 2003 draft. I still firmly believe he should have won Rookie of the Year, but that's for another story. Um, I mean, there were two, of course, great rookies that were in that class. One of them made the playoffs, the other one didn't. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think I think he had a great career. I think, people will always have the sentiment that he didn't win a championship. But as we know, there are plenty of Hall of Famers that have not won championships. But there's not a lot of them that have won 3 gold medals and had the extensive Olympic career that he had. There's not a lot of them that have had scoring championships. There are not a lot of them. I believe they say he was a 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA. And yeah, I mean, I think he's also a story for some kids that'll be coming up that, there are a lot of things that he probably does wish that he would have done a little bit different in his career. Um, be a little bit more, for lack of a better term, humble when it comes down to maybe taking a back seat when he got to a certain age. But like you all said, he's a hands down first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll be there, top 75 in the league, ninth scoring all time on the ninth on the all time scoring list. And he's had an amazing career. I do wonder what he retired as. I don't even know if they do that in the NBA like they do in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, it's sad. I knew it was coming because he didn't play this year. But you can see even in his retirement video, you can see that he's so focused on a lot of things after basketball and how much he's involved with, community inspiration and seeing his son. We talk about Bronny a lot, but Cayenne, I believe he's a rising junior. And he's starting to fill out a little bit more, and he definitely has the shot in the handles like his dad. To see him, I think he was at Christ of King, and I think he's going to a new school this year. So I'm excited to see him and see Melo kind of, be that dad that's like at all the games and pushing his son forward. But just hats off to a great career. And I hope he still stays involved in it in some, you know, form of fashion. I don't know what that would be, as far as in the NBA. I don't know what his inspiration or aspirations are, excuse me. But yeah, it's sad to see him go. I'll miss watching him play, but just kudos to a great career.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just one of the best to ever play. Like Octavia said, top 10 in scoring. If he would have gotten opportunities that he should have gotten, Definitely would have broke 30K. It's unfortunate that he didn't get a proper send off, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, unquestionable first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't even understand how that conversation even came up yesterday once he announced, but you know, Twitter going Twitter, man. Like, I'm not. I'm really not shocked at this point of anything that comes out of that hellscape of an app. But but yeah, man, and I'm definitely feeling old that like me and Carmelo graduated high school the same year. So now to see him have a full NBA career and retire, it's like dang,
Wow.
like where did the time go? But yeah, hats off to him, man. And like Octavia said, he's quietly built one of the more impressive off court careers like over these last few years. He's had a lot of different investments and other ventures that I mean he's not as vocal about it as others, but he's doing his thing in other arenas, man. Like he's got a lot of stuff going on. That's good to see. So so yeah, man, just looks like he's ready for the next phase of life. And I'm just glad he was able to just to play all these years and had a career that he had.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. First, like y'all said, kudos to a great career. Um, it was fun watching that man work on that end of the floor. Truly fun. It was an art. Um, I want to be so petty right now, but it's not appropriate at this moment. But that his game it was beautiful to watch him work in the mid range for sure. Octavia, like you mentioned, what he did, in terms of USA basketball, obviously in college. I'm a contend that my man got for that rookie of the year. Um,
He did.
but that said, yeah, like Ray said, man, we watching people have their full careers at this point. Like the class of '03, this man,
There's not too many left.
not at all. But again, shout out to a great career. It's Carmelo Anthony. Want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We truly appreciate it. As always, don't forget you can check our weekly shows out here with the Focus. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on our Roku channel. If you got a Roku television or device, it's really simple. Just type in the Focus TV in the search box. Double tap OK. And the channel's added. You can, if you live inside the city limits, it's really easy. Look at your local listings for your DC TV. Friday nights at 10 p.m. Then re-airs again Saturday at 4:30 p.m. If you're outside the city limits, you can just go to dctv.org and stream it there. Again, at those times, or everyone knows how to navigate a website. You can just find out when it re-airs throughout the weekend. Again, don't forget with Mystics content. It's really easy. Let me try to go put this back up on the screen one time for the one time. Here we go. It's the best way to find out what's happening with our Mystics coverage each and every week. Again, they're on the road again. They go back on the road this Friday, so we'll be talking to you guys then. For those of you that, right after we finish recording this, we'll be talking to you guys a little bit later. But y'all have a great evening, have a great week, and we'll see you guys soon.